when you get rich in it, when you start killing shit, and they all witness it. Money roll faster than niggas can't spend the shit. Open more businesses, but you and your niggas that's watching your vision is to be a.
So today I'm going to be pulling up SPY and Apple to see where it will be heading for the week. So as you can see right here is a key area. This 427.20 area. We've been rejecting and bouncing off this area a lot of candles there, as you can see, and we are currently in that area. I was showing you previously before. We are currently in that area, and we bounced perfectly off that 427.20 area. And this is the structure, and I showed that so you can see my trend line, that white line, and you can see we bounced perfectly off of that trend line. And we have our 5-day moving average at the 428 level. That's my orange line. And we have the AVWAP for Thursday. The yellow line is my 20-day moving average at 428.66. 428.66, the 20-day moving average. So basically what I will be looking for when a market opens is right here. You can see we have a nice cup and handle. We had a nice cup and handle, but the handle failed. We had a nice cup and handle and the handle fell. Let me show you where the cup and handle is and what a cup and handle is. It's in the bottom picture. So this is the cup right here. And then we was forming the handle around that 430 area. And then we rejected perfectly off of it, coming down to where we're at now. So where we're at now, we bounced off that trend line, so we could still go higher and complete that cup and handle. This is the trend line overall. We bounced perfectly off of that trend line, so we had an area where we could possibly go up, completing that cup and handle, or we could fail. And I don't look to see, I won't say it's truly bearish until we're under that 422 area. That's when I know sellers are in control. So what I'm going to be looking for is for us to retest the 5-day moving average at 428. And then on top of that, we have our AVWAP, which is at the 428.62 area. And we can't forget candles bounce off of candles. So I'm going to show you my trend line, because we could also reject here as well, because candles bounce off of candles. They don't just randomly bounce. So we're gonna grab the flush area. You want it right under the candle, under the body of the candle. And you can see our 5-day moving average is sitting really right under it. So we have a lot of confluences from stopping us from going to the upside. So we're going to be wary as far as going up. We have to get through the 5-day, we have to get through the resistance, then we have the AVWAP, then we have our 20-day at 428.66. We have all those confluences stopping us from going down to the bottom. And yeah, we fell into a cup and handle Thursday, and Friday we ended with another cup and handle, a smaller one. So this area right here I will really be paying attention to. It's about 425.70. Now we're going to look at Apple. So with Apple, we're at another important level. I'm going to zoom out for you so you can see the previous highs was this area around this area. We just been around. We're right there. We're at that 172.42 area. So just gonna zoom out so you can see where we were at when we was in this area. As you can see, it's an important area. That 171.60 area, we just kept bouncing before we start to see our all-time highs. So we have to look out for this area. We had a very important area. You can see in the past too. important area as well. We rejected that area and we fell down, and then we seen that 165. Well, we seen that 155.60 area after rejecting that area. So it's very, very important area we're at right now. We either rejected or bounced it from this, or we either rejected or bounced from this area. So now, with Apple, go to the 30-minute, and as you can see, we lost we're just slightly under our 50-day moving average, purple. Our AVWAP is the white lines. Our trend line is the top white line. Our AVWAP is at the bottom. Our 5-day moving average is our orange line. The 20-day is our yellow line. Another important thing that I wanted to show you guys was look at our moving averages. Remember I told you it's a guide. I look to see where they're headed. Anytime they cross down, we flush. Anytime they cross up, we go up. So this is an area to look out for, because as you can see, we have them starting to cross each other, and it looks like the 20-day wants to go down. So we'll be looking for that and show you examples of when they crossed each other. So you see right here, they crossed down, and look what happened. We're now where we're at. Since we crossed down previously before, they crossed down about this area right here, and look, we flushed down. And we'll go to Apple and show you the same thing, because we're at that area too, where we have to pay attention to. You see, we crossed down this area and we flushed, and now look where we're at. We flushed hard. We crossed down there, crossed right here, crossed down there, and now, that's where we ended up previously. So we do want to pay attention to that, as they do look like they're about to cross down strong. Now let's get into charting Apple. So as you can see, Apple on top, we have our 50-day moving average, 171.25. Our 5 days at 172.23, which is the orange line. And our 20-day moving average is at 171.40. Then we have our top resistance at 171.60 area. So this is what I'm going to be looking for. To the upside, I'm looking for us to retest our 20-day moving average at 171.40 before seeing our resistance at 171.60. Above that, we have our trend line, that 171 about 80 area to 90 area, 171.90 area. We want to pay attention to that, because we've been rejecting off of that trend line as well. And then on top of that, we have our 5-day moving average at 172.25. Below us, we have our AVWAP at 170.95. Losing that, we can go ahead and see that 170.40 area. That's something we want to pay attention to. And if we bounce off that 170.40 area, we can go back up and retest our AVWAP at 170.94. If we reject off of that area, then we could see lower. So we could see that 169.65 area, and then we could see that 168.80 area. Remember, I want to wait for the break and retest. So if we bounce up, I'm going to look for us to reject off the 170.40 before falling down to that 168.80 area. And then that's when it gets really crazy, y'all. Because if we lose that 160.80 area, sellers can really flush this thing down to 165.40 area. If we lose that, that's when it gets even more sticky. That's when we could see that 155.60 area. Yeah, we could flush all the way down to that 155.60 area. And that's actually an area that I would like to buy more shares for Apple. And because let me show you, that was our previous highs before we started really breaking out. See, it's a key level that we bounced or rejected off of. It's a key level at 155. That will be a nice area to buy some Apple in. We have a lot of confluences stopping us from going to the upside as well, just like how I showed you SPY. I'm not saying we're bearish though. I'm not saying we're bearish. Not yet. We're close though. Very close. So to the upside, I'm going to be looking for us to retest the 20-day, which is 171.40. Then our resistance, 171.60. We have to remember our trend line. If we could break that, we have to pay attention to the 5-day moving average at 172.23. And remember, the more you fall, it could come down. But if we break the 5-day moving average, then we can go ahead and retest that 174.30 AVWAP before going back down, possibly rejecting, and then bouncing off the 5-day moving average. If we do that, then we can see that 174.68 area. So 174.70 area. And then once we go and break that 174.70 area, I'm going to be paying attention to this because candles bounce off of candles. So we're going to be looking out for this area at 175.50 area. We'll say 175.50 area. So we could reject there and then go back down and then possibly bounce off of support if it does become support at 174.68 or 174.70 area. Bouncing off of that, going to retest that 176.55 area, and then we could see 178, and then we could see 179.15 area. So that's what I'm looking for overall. And remember, we are still in a downtrend. Gotta keep that in mind. And for Apple, we're actually in a selling channel. That's why it's even more crazy. And you know, SPY follows Apple to a degree. If Apple starts flushing heavy, SPY, best believe, will come down with it. We still are currently in a selling channel. We have to be very careful. We're not safe at all. But again, sellers isn't in full control until we lose that 168.80 area. Because if we lose that, then that's when we see that 165 flush down to 155 after we lose that area. So that's when it gets very, very, very critical. Again, for SPY, I'll show you. SPY is still in the downtrend overall, and it's actually in a selling channel, in a tight selling channel. Really, it's in a, let me show you. So we're going to connect structure with structure. I always tell y'all, candles not just in spots randomly. Let me show you why I did that area. Now look, boom. Structure connects with structure. You see that? And what does that look like? If you know your patterns, that is a falling wedge. So that is a falling wedge. So on SPY, that 425 area, remember I told you the cup and handle could be completed? Well, SPY, that 425 area could really send us high. This is a fallen wedge. We have to pay attention to that as well, that fallen wedge.
Turning off this bullshit direction. Turning up my grind. Waking up to more pressure. But it's all in your mind. So I never feel pressure.